Are you aware of how you spend your time? I recently started using a finisher journal. This is a 90-day journal that breaks things down by, the 13 weeks in those 90 days. Gives you 3 pages of habit trackers, one for each month of those 90 days. And they're interesting. I just started it 5 days ago, so I can't really speak to how well it works. I'm sure, you could make one of your own. If maybe there's some other things you wanted to track, you could also make your own habit tracker. I've done that before, but I saw this somewhere. I forget who I was watching who recommended it, and I was like, you know what, I'll try it. They're not so expensive that I can't buy one and give it a shot. I've had it for a little while. I've finally started using it. But it's made me, in just the 5 days I've been using it, it's made me a lot more aware of my time. Where I wind up looking at the habit tracker for it and thinking, oh, okay, I should be working on this thing. I should be doing that thing. I should be, sitting down and writing or reading or working on, meal prep for the week so that I'm not just eating out, just being much more aware of how I spend my time and what I'm doing with it, which I think is really helpful. I think it's easy, especially in modern day, to get sucked into a lot of things. Pretty much everything built these days is designed to take your attention. Your phone, obviously, right? Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, any other social media app is designed to keep you on the app. It's designed to keep you engaged with the app. And I think that's detrimental, ultimately, to everyone. Computers are the same way, right? Not just your phone, but like video games are designed to keep you entrenched in them. It's to keep you within the game. And that's part of it. It's designed to bake you into that. But with the prevalence of screens, it's very easy to get sucked into things, and it's very easy to be surrounded by screens all the time. Just saw a video on the new Samsung fridge running ads that people didn't want on this like $3,000 or $4,000 fridge, which is just absurd to me. My fridge, if I ever have to replace my fridge, I'm not buying one with a screen. If I have to replace my car anytime soon, I'm going to try to buy one without one of those screens. The backup cameras are nice, but that's about all I want on that screen. I don't want the tablet in my car. And all those things are designed to take your attention. And so it is something you need to be really aware of. Even if you aren't doing anything with it, I think it's beneficial to be aware of what they're doing because it's depriving you of a lot more in life. I mean, most people I know spend a lot of time scrolling. And so if you can be one of the people who doesn't, one, you'll be way more ahead than other people, but you'll also, I think, be better off. I don't scroll too much. I've caught myself scrolling more than I used to. I just don't think it's good to have that sort of super normal stimulus that the scrolling gives you. I think it's detrimental to everyone. I mean, there's Gen Z grew up with the screens and they seem to, at least online reports, of course, so who knows how trustworthy that is, but they seem to have less social interactions. And, there's people talk about the Gen Z stare when you walk into stores, and I've seen that as well. I don't know. It just seems like the prevalence of these screens in the time they're taking from you is something to be aware of. There's the Marshall McLuhan quote of the medium is the message, and what type of medium you're using to do whatever it is can influence how you prepare that thing. But it's also the medium of the cell phone or the screen seems to really support short form, high dopamine producing content. And I just don't think that's good. I think it's really easy to get sucked into those things. I think it's also easy to lose time to things you don't even think about, right? Like if you eat at home, there's the time spent cooking, obviously. But if you eat at home, you can always cook enough that you have leftovers. So you might be able to get away with doing that once a week, depending on how accepting you are of eating the same food every day. If you want a little more variety, maybe twice a week you have to cook, maybe 2 or 3 times, but if you make enough with leftovers, you can then eat the leftovers. Because if you go out, you have to get to wherever you're going, wait for whatever it is, get the food, wait for the check, and then go home. And that's a lot more time even than cooking. Like, I'll go out with friends, because I'm not saying don't go out at all. But when I do, it's definitely a longer process, even if we go somewhere that should be relatively quick. Because sometimes you're just trying to hang out with people, so you go somewhere that's, you go to like a burger joint, and maybe you go to a fast food place and you just sit around and chat. But even those places take a long time these days. They're not very efficient. Admittedly, both In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A are both very quick. And I mean, there's chain restaurants too, and we'll go to those places, and those can be fast or slow, depends on how busy they are, how many people they've got, working. And that's fine because it's out with friends, and that's why I'm going. But I've really cut down on how much I eat out by myself, simply because it's so much more time. Like, I can cook dinner in the same amount of time as it would take to go to a fast food restaurant. Now, that does mean I have to have prepared by buying food in advance to cook, but that's not so difficult because I wind up going to the store anyway for a few essentials, and so that's not too difficult. But it's that extra time that's taken up by all these little things. Right? Like, if you go to a grocery store and it takes you a half hour to get out of the grocery store to buy 2 items because there's lines, there's, one register open, you can't find the stuff, that's just frustrating. And there's lots of things that are like that, where it's that meeting at work that could have been an email. Some of those meetings maybe could have, there's always those meetings that are, maybe this could be an email, maybe this needs to be a meeting. And then there's the times where it's like, this could be an email, but it's going to take me 10 minutes to write it, whereas I can call somebody and get an answer in 2 minutes, and it's a little faster. And it depends on the importance of the thing. But there's lots of things like that where it's like, hey, this is a time waster, even at work, right? And, when you're working, it's like, okay, well, they're paying me to be here, but it's still like, I'd like my time back. Because if you're good at your job, that's what they're paying you to do, is they're paying you to do an efficient job, so that when stuff comes up, that's the benefit. I mean, if they're just going to waste your time, there's no real benefit then. I don't know, maybe that I think is a separate topic of discussion. But it's just it's been popping in my head because I've been using this journal. And I don't know if I'll stick with it for 90 days. I don't normally do very well doing those things. I tend to lose interest. I think with the tracking, it will work pretty well. But I won't be able to say till the end of it. I'll probably make one in December when the 90 days is up, or I guess January when the 90 days is up, looking back over it. There's some things I don't like about this journal in terms of layout, and that maybe I bought an older version where some things are different, or they have a couple different versions, maybe, I don't know. So it's something I'll look at, but it has made me a lot more aware of how I spend my time, especially because now I have daily goals where it's, hey, I want to be able to check that box that I did this thing. I did this many steps today. I did this task. I wrote this much on this topic, that sort of thing. So it is definitely helpful in that regard. But I think you could easily make one of your own. But it is helpful to kind of sit down and look at how you're spending your time. One other thing I've done before is I've timestamped everything I've done in a day. I picked like a typical day, and I just wrote down like, hey, I got up at this time. So when I actually got out of bed, and just wrote down like everything. Wasn't so specific, as in like, went to the bathroom, washed my hands. I wasn't like, went to the bathroom at 7:02, washed my hands at 7:02:30. Like, not that specific. So I wasn't so specific on items, but I did like, hey, I did this task between this time frame. I went to lunch between this section, and I think I even wrote down like, I spent this much time driving to lunch, this much time eating lunch, and this much time driving back, and like those sorts of like. And I'm not saying do that every day. It was really inconvenient to do, but it was useful. It definitely helped me out to kind of figure out how to better do things at work. It's why I don't eat out for lunch at work. But it is helpful to be aware of how you spend your time. And I think this sort of habit tracking has been really helpful, but it's also just try to be more aware of what you're doing with your time. We don't get so much of it that you can really afford to waste it, even though a lot of us do, myself included. I waste a lot of time, and I don't particularly like that. And the last thing I'll say on that is when I say waste of time, I don't mean things that you do for entertainment are really a waste of time. They become a waste of time when that's all you do. Like if you are doing stuff that is helping you move you in a direction you want to go so that you wind up in the place you want to be in life, and you spend a bit of time on entertainment, that's no problem. It's when you spend 12 hours a day or 15 hours a day on entertainment every day, that's when it becomes a problem. But there's also the little time sinks that come up during the day. So it is helpful to be aware of your time. And that's all I have for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.